welcome to Craft Talk. I'm here with Heidi, and we're on her deck, her beautiful deck with her trees in the background. So if you hear wind rustling and possibly kids coming out, then that's why.
That's what happens when you come to visit.
That's right. And we're going to talk primarily embroidery today. Heidi is an excellent embroiderer. She does a lot of crafts, like sewing, which she's been on the channel before, and of course she knits, and many other things, I'm sure.
A little of everything.
Yes. But here today, it's embroidery.
It is embroidery. Why don't we start with yours?
Mine, okay. I only brought one with me, and I think I'll insert a picture of the other one. I have curtains in my kids' room that when my first child was born, I had a cute little bedding, and I wanted to make curtains that went with it. And so they're just plain white curtains with little white dots on them. But I embroidered along the bottom little trees and birds to match the bumper of the crib.
Aww.
It turned out really cute. And now they're in my third child's room. She's not a baby,
Poor
but
kid gets the handoffs, right?
yeah, it still works. It's cute. So I'll put a picture in here. The other thing I brought, I made when I went out to visit friends in Wyoming, and this is their state flower. It's not stretched all nicely in there yet, but that's Wyoming state flower, and I think I might mail it to them as a gift.
I was going to ask if this was
Yes.
your memento of the trip.
My original thought was as a gift, and then I wasn't sure if it was good enough. But now I'm thinking it is cute, and they might appreciate it. So I might mail it to them.
I think with crafting, you don't have to ask, is it good enough?
Maybe not.
It's
This
the
is-
intent that went
yeah.
into it.
This is my first attempt at this type of embroidery. I don't know much about embroidery, but this has like the big stitches and all, which is different.
It's almost like crewel work.
Yeah, a little bit different from like what you're gonna show.
Yeah.
But I thought it turned out really cute.
Although I've always been told that you should keep your first effort at anything. So if this
Really?
is your first embroidery, you should probably make a second one.
Second one
For
and
them.
send it to them? Maybe so. We'll see. I don't really like to do things twice.
True. I'm so glad that I'm done with it, that I'm want
Yeah.
to move on to the next one.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very good. Well, mine are a mix. I do a lot of embroidery mainly for gifts. I like how, like you were saying with the curtains, you can make it very unique. You can put any design in for a transfer. So I did, as far as functional, I did a zippered pouch.
And this pouch you created yourself first, or
Well, I did the embroidery just on a big piece of white.
right, and then you sewed it up.
And then trimmed that down to work into the pouch itself. So it's kind of a combination, but it's cherry blossoms. One of my favorite artists, authors, I'm not sure where it lands, but is Aimee Ray, who does the Doodle stitching series. And so this is her cherry blossom pattern. But I wanted something useful but beautiful. So
Yes.
that was my compromise.
Zipper pouch.
Zipper
All of
pouch.
my knitters out there will be
Yes.
very familiar with their zipper
Well, and it's
pouches.
good for
Like, you know,
embroidery
you can
too,
put it
because
on
you
a
can
D-ring.
you can keep all your stuff
Yeah,
tied together. You're not losing your floss.
exactly.
That's
So
perfect.
cute.
Or you can use it as your, I don't know about you, but I change purses all the time. So I have my bag, my zippered bag that comes
With
in
all
every-
this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have to transfer once.
Those
Yeah.
organized people do that. I just like dump.
Mine is
bag
more
to
frantic.
bag.
Like, I just got tired of being frantic. Did I remember? Because mine is hearing aid batteries that I always forget.
You don't want to forget those.
No, it kind of ruins a visit when you can't hear anybody. But.
Yeah, it would.
So the other one that I did was a gift for my daughter, who is a huge fan of the Nutcracker. This is also using Aimee Ray, and it's also functional. I have a hard time just doing stuff decorative. I don't have a ton of wall space.
This
But-
is a pillowcase,
Yes,
right?
that would probably help. Yep. Pillowcase. I just got a cheap white pillowcase, box store, plain white, and then transferred
cute.
the motifs onto it and put that together with her Nutcracker themed Christmas present last year. She loves it and she uses it, and it's a gift that we don't have to find a home for, but that she loves.
That is always nice.
It really is.
Yes.
So and there again, embroidery, any design will transfer. So you can do whatever you want within that. Now I
So
did
cute.
break the mold, if you will, and so for my craft room, I did a whole series. I don't know, do you want to
Yeah.
show these here, please? So these hang on my wall in my craft room / guest room.
Oh my goodness.
And these came from a set of iron-on transfers.
Oh.
I always have
Was
a hard
that
time.
easy to use, the iron-on ones?
The iron-on transfers are nice because they are easy, but you can't resize them, and you can't rearrange them like with
Oh,
the.
that's true. You couldn't enlarge it or shrink it. And
Exactly, with the Nutcracker one and with the Aimee Ray.
so cute.
One of the things I love about her is that she sends the designs on a CD. So you can put them into a Word document or whatever, photo editing, enlarge them, shrink them, whatever, and then transfer them however you want. But if transferring is tricky, then the iron-ons are great. And they come in everything you can think of. Like, this is the brand I use, Aunt Martha's. So this is one that I got for my son, who's a huge train enthusiast.
Yes, he is.
But there again, if it's this big and you want it to be this big,
Right.
you're really up a creek. And so you have to accommodate to make that work. But you can also do pattern books. This is another one that I'm quite fond of. And this is...
It was a rainbow of
It's
stitches.
a rainbow of stitches, and it's a mix of authors, and I won't try their names. But it also has themed ones. So as far as gifts go, they have a whole Paris-themed section. So I did some art for a girlfriend. We did also a set of pillowcases for her, and we did just a square map of the Paris metro for her.
That's
the
cool.
metro zones. Yeah, in the colors of her bedroom. So we were able to make it, again, still useful, but very personalized.
Yeah.
Another one that we did, I can't show you because I sent it off, but it was the same person has lived all over the world. So talking to her is very confusing because it's when I lived in Hawaii, when I lived in Germany,
That's
when I
cool.
lived in name your country. So I did a whole series of napkins for her. Plain white napkins, same thing.
That'd be
and then you print out all the
perfect
different
for-
states or countries and put the name with it and then embroider those. So now at dinner she has her story, if you will, in napkins.
That would be perfect for a wedding gift.
It would be perfect. I've done this for
wedding
wedding
gift.
gifts too, where it's the initial. Girlfriend of mine was an artist, and she had a wall of all the different, their initial in all different fonts. So I copied some of those fonts and put a different one on each of her napkins to do that, to mirror the wall in her dining room. Yeah.
Should do more embroidery.
It's really soothing, and it travels well like knitting.
Yeah.
I run into problems because I get so stuck on a certain color combination, and I have a hard time mixing and matching.
Oh, that's right. You talked about that with sewing too.
Yeah,
Things have to go very well together.
Yes, they have to go, but it's still like it's the same colors I used when I was embroidering when I was 12. I've got to break out of
Like kind of the slightly pale.
This
Colors?
one is the one I haven't hung. I don't like to hang because those are my colors.
So you don't want to hang it?
I don't want to hang it because it's so 12-year-old looking.
Aww.
But something
it's
like
nice.
this one where it's a little bit more neutral, trendy. I don't know. I guess it's the self-perception, whatever you want to call it. But at least I had fun doing it.
I think it looks good. You want color?
I do like color, and that's where embroidery, as you said, does come in pretty handy. I'll have you do this one because I use it to do very specific patterns. I strongly suspect, given your penchant for knitting patterns, something like this would be of greater interest, where it's simply a decorative element, not so much a motif.
Yes. Kind of like a stitch book for knitting, like the stitch
Right,
patterns that
right.
you could
So I've
apply
got
to
these
anything.
two that are really good. This one is in color, so it's a little bit easier to see, but then this one,
Stitches better this way.
yeah, and both of these I found used. But it lets you still mix and match with color, but it's more texture than design.
Yes.
So that's a completely different half
It
of
is a very
embroidery.
different thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's cute though.
It is.
It's just very vintage.
It is very vintage.
I love that. Oh, here's some on the back. So
And then
cute.
this one is similar, not as visually appealing. But still
Hundred
very
embroidered.
useful for trying to figure out some of these stitches and working your way through them. So that's another option for embroidery. For transferring, coming back to
Yes, talk about
Aimee
your
Ray.
transferring thing. How you do that, your process.
So You know, you find something beautiful, like the peacock feathers, right?
Mm-hmm.
That would be just lovely to put along a border. So if you flip to the front, this one I did large on a tote bag, kind of a linen.
Yeah, so she did
tote bag.
Oh, there we go. That big tree. So you enlarged it.
Just print it out on regular printer paper.
Okay.
Any design that's legally available.
Right.
Print it out on paper, size it to however you want, and then you shade the back with a number 2 pencil. So just shade the back entirely.
Okay.
Back of the pencil, or side of the pencil.
So you've printed it out on paper.
Mm-hmm.
So the print side, say this is the print side.
Mm-hmm.
You shade the back
The
side.
back side. Mm-hmm. Then you stretch your
Okay.
fabric, and you flip this so that the front of it
shaded
is facing
side.
you. The
Okay.
shade is down on the fabric, and then you trace over the design. Follow the edges and the elements of the design.
What do you use to trace over
You can
it?
use a knitting needle. You can use a mechanical pencil with the lead retracted. Anything with a point.
That's not too sharp.
To apply pressure.
Right.
You can use the tip of a crochet hook, a really small crochet hook, if
Oh.
it is small enough. You want something that's not going to puncture the paper,
Right.
but that will put enough pressure, because what it's going to do is transfer the graphite onto your fabric.
So all that pencil rubbing then will stick
Wherever
to your
there's
fabric.
pressure, the pencil rubbing
Yeah.
transfers over. So you've got to be careful not to use your hand,
Push
leaning
on
on
it,
it.
right.
Yeah, you don't want to leave a big
Or
smudge
move
on
it.
And it only works for light fabrics. I haven't found one
Right.
for dark. I'm really liking I think it's called sashiko embroidery, the Japanese embroidery, where it's a dark background with really interesting geometric patterns.
Oh, that'd
in
be
white.
cool. You wouldn't be able to
They're
transfer on that.
I wouldn't. You can do it with chalk. I'm just not steady enough to freehand that and be happy with the freehand.
You wouldn't be able to transfer the chalk in the same way, though, would you?
Not in the same way, no.
Yeah.
No. And there are, I think there are transfer papers that you can buy for that. I've only
Specifically for
seen
the
them
black.
for the light ones, but I think they have them for the black ones. That's
What
a
is
really
it called?
beautiful one.
What is that called? The dark fabric
I think
one?
it's called sashiko.
Sashiko.
Don't
I'll have
quote
to
me
look
on
that
that.
one up.
I'm Swedish. But I've seen some too where it was lavender with white on it, and it was just
Be
so
pretty.
fresh looking.
That'd be
for-
really
for
pretty.
Spring, it was really beautiful. So those are a few things. Like mine tend to be much more functional than just decorative. But I don't have
Yes.
a ton of wall space to hang on. Very good. But I love the idea of doing them as gifts or doing them as mementos of where you've been
Yeah.
and what you've done. It doesn't have to be art.
It would make a really nice souvenir, yeah, that you don't have to necessarily put on your wall. You could do it on a pillow,
Mm-hmm.
or like you did it on the pillowcase.
You do the pillowcase, you can do tote bags, you can do zippered pouches, you can do it on clothes.
Yeah.
One of the books that I had mentioned earlier, this Rainbow Stitches, has some fantastic ideas. Journal covers, slippers,
Yes.
lingerie bags, just all kind of framed elements.
I've seen gorgeous journals. I think it's Lori ×5 on Instagram. She has done some beautiful journal covers with embroidery.
Yeah, you can do a bind cover, you can do.
Yeah.
And I know cross stitchers run into this problem too. Is at some point you put floss on everything that you can find,
Right.
But these books in particular have some really good ones.
Yeah, you have some
And
good
I like
books.
that you can mix. And coming back, this is the Aimee Ray holiday collection.
Aimee Ray again.
Yeah, but if you look at the pillowcase or the pillow that she did, it's patchwork. In addition to the embroidery.
Oh, yes. So this is one big pillow on here.
Mm-hmm. And if you flip it to the back, you can have coasters.
Oh, yeah, look. She has coasters and little houses. That's cute.
So these two books in particular have some really fun ideas for creative ways to use embroidery. So I'm working on breaking out of just the
I like
functional.
this too.
Isn't that cute?
The grocery bag.
Yes. Well, and she's got really
That's
good things.
cute.
She's got sweets, she's got veggies, she's got woodland critters, she's got nature elements, she's got ocean elements, there's mermaids.
They're all
there
very
are decorative
cute. They have the same
borders.
kind of style.
They're
for
very
sure.
whimsical, which apparently I like. My alter ego likes whimsical stuff. but you can use it in so many different ways. Whether you're making something for a kid or something for you can. The colors often.
Now
change
you pretty
that.
much use the same stitch in all of yours.
I use
Yes?
a stem stitch because I find a
Y'all
satin
can see
stitch.
this. She says this is called a stem stitch.
In the last time we talked, I had talked about being a recovering perfectionist.
Recovering perfectionist, yes.
Yes. So the satin stitch, which is really similar to what you use.
To say,
I've
if
got
it's
a
in
little bit of
here-
it here. I'll let you show that. The dots are satin stitch.
The dots are satin
It really gets
stitch.
me because if your edges aren't exactly right, it looks
shows.
funny.
Yes.
Yeah, or if they're not spaced exactly right. So I prefer to do just the stem stitch and let the colors and the motif be what's lovely, not so much the stitches. So it makes it rather boring, and I understand that, but
Boring to do this stitch work or boring for
no,
others?
boring for other people to look at it. I think I got real fancy and did French knots on the
Yeah. And you did it in gold sparkly.
I did it in gold sparkly. Yes.
Some little French knots. And on this one,
On the sleigh, it's
On the
there.
sleigh, you
and the
have some
sugar plum
special-
fairy has them on her one. No, I went really big with
oh
that one.
yes.
But you can also do something called a lazy daisy, which we did on her. This is really, really small, but this, where you make almost a little petal, that is another very common. So stem stitch,
the little
French
petals.
stitch, and the lazy daisy are your
Lazy
three
daisy.
most common ones, I would say, for embroidery. If you know those three, you can do just about it. Oh, and a French knot. If you know those four, you can do a really nice set of embroidery pieces.
So cute.
And all of these are done from those 4 stitches.
Really?
Uh-huh. All of these are done
Wow.
from those 4 stitches.
I like this little chicken.
Mm-hmm. There's another one I didn't get. It's alphabets. They have one with cats, they have one with hedgehogs, they have one with rainbows, so each letter has one of
An
those
alphabet
worked in.
with the animal in it. Oh, that's cute.
It's adorable. I can't remember the name of the book. Maybe you can put that in
Is
show
that
notes.
by
It's not
the
by
same
Aimee Ray,
person?
but it's very similar in style to it.
Yeah, maybe we can find it.
Yeah, I'll see if I can
Up
find
there.
it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very, very monotonous stitching, which I like because I want something that keeps my hands busy, but that doesn't
Without thinking too much.
Yeah, but that's still visually interesting. to
Like
work on.
the TV knitting,
Mhm.
TV embroidery.
Yeah, I mean my pattern's there. The only thing I change are my colors.
Right. And it's the same stitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can
Turns
make
out
it
cute.
as creative as you want.
Mhm.
But this one, the stem stitch, is really good for these small corners because you really just take 2 threads of the fabric in each stitch to make it. And you can make them longer. The key with embroidery, and I think you did this really well on your Wyoming one, is to keep the stitch length the same and consistent.
Yeah, the consistency is definitely key to not have it look too messy.
Yeah. There's big stitches at the beginning coming down to the little ones. Wind and kids and dogs and everything in between. I
Hopefully
think
you
there's
can
a
hear us.
lightsaber battle going on behind us.
Yes, the knocking you hear are the children playing with their lightsabers in
They're
the
having a great
backyard.
time.
They
So
are.
welcome to our home.
Yes.
Come on in. So yeah, it's a little bit of visual similarity, but hopefully the colors and the textures start to make up for some of that. And
I
it's
definitely think
for
so.
a 7-year-old, she's happy with it.
Yeah.
So that works for me.
That looks good.
Yeah.
You inspire me to do more embroidery.
Oh, thank you.
Mom, could you hold my
I sure can. The one I want to do is a Harry Potter themed one and have like the different houses or book art
that would
or
be
like
nice.
the Marauders map. Embroider
Yeah.
that one with the footprints.
Oh, that would be so
It would be
cute.
fun. I think it might get boring doing just the browns on the Marauders map, but it would be really fun. Or
Yeah,
maybe,
it would be
maybe
pretty.
Middle Earth.
The same colors.
Yeah, I've seen it's a wood burning, but it's a Middle Earth style map of our area. With all the place names written, obviously not in Elvish, but in Elvish style. And that would be a really fun embroidery project to do.
It would
and then
be.
stretch and frame. The other thing, if I could add,
So they've taken that same style and then like we live in Virginia, so we could do one for us.
and where you put
that would be
the
cute.
dots over the eaves. and
Yeah.
whatnot. Yeah. It's whoever did it was.
Where did you
beautifully
find
creative.
that?
I saw that at a coffee shop downtown called Agora, but I don't know
Oh.
who the artist is. But they may be able to you in the right direction. But when you're doing
Look that
a
up.
big piece of embroidery like that, I would highly recommend putting interfacing on behind it to help stabilize it.
Right.
Iron-on interfacing. And this is why with the trains, I don't have this one to show you because I just put the interfacing behind where the image was.
So you embroider it and then do the interfacing.
You can do either way. I haven't figured out which way is best yet. I'm sure the internet has an opinion on that.
Y'all can tell us if y'all do embroidery
Yeah, do you put the interfacing on before or after?
before you stitch it or after you stitch
Because
it.
before it gives it a lot of good stability while you work.
Right.
That's good.
But does it
But it makes
gum
it really
up the
thick.
needle or anything?
It doesn't gum up the needle, but I can't take as small stitches because I can't
Oh.
manipulate the fabric as well.
Yeah.
But I do
Maybe it
like putting it on
depends on
afterwards.
what type you do. So
Probably.
like mine with the bigger stitches, this probably could have used that.
Probably, yeah. And you probably could have done it before. If
Yeah.
you do it after, it helps catch all your loose ends and makes it
Mhm.
look a little bit neater. What I have to warn you though is, when you put it on, make sure you don't just put it on around your image because you will see
You'll
from the
see
front
it.
where the line is.
Right.
So put this much interface and give yourself
For a
tons
small.
of margin for a small one so that you don't decide,
That's a good tip.
I want to back this out and use this much of it.
Right.
Well, then you've hit the limits of your interfacing and it shows.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's my mistake and you can learn from it.
We'll learn from your mistakes, Heidi.
Yes, God knows we've got this. But again, it brings joy to the people who are, or it seems to bring joy to the people who are using them. And that's
Yeah.
what I wanted more than anything else.
Absolutely.
Very satisfying.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to me and showing me
Absolutely.
all
I'm
of
so
your
glad you guys
beautiful
joined us
embroidery.
today. Yeah, lots of fun stuff. Happy summer.
Yeah. Thanks for joining Craft Talk. Bye.